Cowboy Nation, I stand here before you and I say to this loss from the New Orleans Saints, it's a crazy loss. It seems as if though they threw out all what they did in the first few weeks. And I'm not saying that Kellen Moore is a horrible coach or anything like that. But when you do not, and I'm going to say this again, when you do not give the ball to Tony Pollard at all, it's something to do about change of pace running back. I love the philosophy what the New Orleans Saints did with their backup running back. They gave a chance to spell number 41. That's just one side of it. And then on top of that, for Teddy Bridgewater, I'm talking about Teddy B, for him to average 4.3 yards per pass was very crazy in my books, right? But they figure out a way to win, and just what you got to do, especially when your primary quarterback is out, is stacking wins on top of wins. Now, Ezekiel, the main man, Elliott, woo-wee! I got to say this right quick, Cowboy Nation. 18 carries for 35 yards, averaging 1.9 yards per carry is not the answer. It's not. Not when you pay your guy $103 million. Not when you do that. That's not the answer. Somebody need to go to Jerry Jones and tell Ezekiel Elliott to take those nose rings out because it's throwing off his equilibrium. It's throwing off his dexterity. It's throwing off his balance. He looked like lethargic out there, and I will say this, Ezekiel Elliott is the brother out there. The path of the righteous man is to be set on all sides, but the iniquities of the selfish. But I would say that you don't give no carries at all to Tony Pollard. You mean to tell me you don't give the brother a chance at all, and then you run in on first downs to the brick wall, and the Saints were giving you the middle of the field? I can't make this stuff up. I can't make this stuff up, Cowboy Nation. I will say this, though. I will say this. In order to win in the National Football League, you can't give games away. Defense showed up. Shout out to 58. He earned every grain of salt. 58 is the truth out there. Boy, I wish love I can see him wearing number 94. Woo, man. He showed out, and shout out to Jalen Smith. Those were some positive aspects of the game. Now, shout out to New Orleans for winning the game. Shout out to you all. I can't say that, hey, the officials and these sorts of things curved the game, but I will have to point it out. Those two PIs that was called on Amari Cooper. Come on now. Horrible. Horrible. The fumble that was on Jason Witten. Shout out to them attacking and chasing, getting the ball out of the hands of the opposition. Shout out to the New Orleans Saints for that. And then the fumble on Ezekiel, the main man, Elliott, like I said. When you play for the Dallas Cowboys, you got to understand that there's two teams you got to beat. You got to beat the opposing team, and you got to beat the officials. Roger Goodell's way up there in New York. Everybody, mama, uncle, cousin, and Tupac and Biggie can see that the fact that the elbow was already down, he had the first down. But they said it was enough to overturn it. That's a story of a different day. We got HD cameras? But I'm not going to say that the Saints won the game because of that. Because Coach always say, hold on to the ball through the echoes of the whistle. You should never have the ball to get out of your hands. So, with that being said, Dak Prescott, I got to talk about this. Don't you know that they didn't have no rollout plays for Dak Prescott? Oh, don't you know that this team does a run pass option, no read zone options at all for Dak Prescott? Don't you know that Dak Prescott had one run that he was able to get the first down and slide, and then the opposition was able to land on him? Oh, they didn't go back to the well. Oh, okay. This team, if you want to go far in the league, you got to jump out fast. And I don't want to hear the story. And I don't want to buy and purchase the excuses for the noise factor. Because I looked at the stands, there was kind of 50-50 fans out there. There was a lot of people that had silver and blue out there in the Who Dat Nation. It was. I don't know whether or not, this is the thing. This is the only thing that I can purchase as an excuse. Just maybe, just maybe. Kellen Moore lost his playbook and lost his brain. Maybe he was still in Dallas. That's the only thing that I can look at. Because everybody knows that when we're looking at this game, we're saying like, hey, there's no pre-play action. There's no pre-snap reads of motion the guy out there in the outside. And then on top of that, you made it seem like Eli Apple was the second coming of Deion Sanders. Revis Allen, you didn't even attempt to pass towards the apples at all. You made it seem like he was the shutdown corner. Because in my mind, I'm looking at the tape and looking at the game live, and I'm sitting there like, at least they're going to try to go deep one time towards Eli Apple's way. Oh my goodness. Cowboys, if you want to go far, if you really want to take this team to the next level, you cannot have games like that. You can't. You got to go back and say to yourselves, 10 to 12 is not going to cut it. It's good that you held the opposition down to 12 points. But at the same time, we can't look back at it and say, okay, well, it was right before the half. It was the quickest 4 seconds in life. What you doing letting them get that close anyway? It's crazy in the sense when you look at the collective game and you look at the outcome of the game. Like I said, shout out to the New Orleans Saints. I'm going to eat my crow. And it don't taste that good. But I will say this. This team, you can't win this game averaging 1.9 yards per carry and scratching your head and say, let's continue to get the 1.9 yards per carry. It's the biggest run or the largest run of the night from the Cowboys perspective out of the running back that you paid $103 million to was 6 yards. I wouldn't have mind, hell, if you'd have gave Jameis Olawale a chance. Since you don't have Tony Pollard to catch the ball or run the ball out of the backfield, it's crazy in a sense. These people are getting paid millions of dollars. And Jerry Jones is out there on Bourbon Street and he's drinking, walking around with the fans. And he's out, not just owner, he's the general manager. Shouldn't the general manager sit back and say, okay, I need to evaluate talent. I know that we got other people and other contemporaries within the organization doing that, but you got to say to yourself, Cowboy Nation, what the world is Jerry Jones doing as an owner walking around on the streets of Dallas? Don't you think that we were sitting there saying all and wall at that? Don't you think that the other 53 players, the 46 that dressed out, they was doing the same things? And look at our owner. He's out there walking the streets. Now, I know that it's nothing to do about the win or the loss ratio of the game, but what I'm saying is all about perspectives. And you got to keep this thing in the right perspectives. So, Cowboy Nation, if we really want to do some things that's crazy for this year, we'll look at that loss and we'll say that, okay, it doesn't move the scale. We're still 3-1. We leading the division. The other teams are looking up. But we got to say that, dog it, we got to have some type of momentum when we play against those Green Bay Packers, because what you don't want to happen, if the Green Bay Packers look at it and say, okay, they don't have a Tyron Smith and he got a high ankle sprain, supposedly. Now, high ankle sprain on a big boy like that, that takes more than 6 or 7 weeks. Here's a big boy. It's just as bad as breaking it, right? So we're going to see what Cam Fleming going to do, number 75. And somebody please help out number 52 on our team. My goodness. Everything shows that he's a tackle, but we trying to get his baby weight up, right? We trying to get him bigger and stronger inside. That's a story of a different day. La'el Collins still had a solid game, but like I said, the guys that won for the defensive side of the ball on the Saints, Mario Davis flew out to the ball like no other. Number 24 was just everywhere, picking up fumbles and things like that, causing fumbles. He did it 2 weeks in a row. Shout out to number 24. And Marshawn Lattimore, come on now. Some of those plays was very suspect as it relates to PI called on Amari Cooper. They got to go back to the drawing board. And I'm still waiting on that play that Michael Thomas caught the ball, that he fumbled the ball, and then he so happened to say that it was a call ball. The officials never did a replay on it, so I guess I got to wait until all 22 come out to see what happened during that play. But I can't say that's the reason why we lost to the Saints. Saints did a heck of a game plan. Remember, I always say it's better to be prepared for an opportunity and not have one than to have an opportunity and not be prepared. And I'm thinking that Sean Payton, he outperformed and he outcoached us. He had a quarterback, like I said, averaging 4.3 yards per pass. And we got out to him. We sacked him. We did everything we supposed to do. We even got an INT from him. But they still are victorious. It's crazy. It's crazy. Don't let this losing feeling become contagious, Cowboy Nation. We got to figure this thing out. We got to change the whole momentum for next week. And we got to stack that momentum on top of that and be ready for this long haul. Because at the end of the day, if you want to host that Lombardi trophy, if you want something bad enough to go out and fight for it and work day and night for it, you got to figure out this right here. Are we doing the things, the small things? It's not about the big things all the time. It's not about dropping back and throwing the deep pass. We just saw Teddy Bridgewater win 2 games by dinking and dunking. If dinking and dunking is the way to go with it, then figure out ways to formulate that. Don't try to go for the big cheese all the time. I do know that Ezekiel Elliott was the #1 target receiver out there last night. But I will say this, you can't win that way. No, you gotta drop some schemes. And then to me, and my rationale and my knowledge of the game is very limited. You guys know most of the things. I just know some of the things. You can't win in the National Football League without scheming. And I don't want to purchase the excuse of noise. I'm not using that. I'm not buying it. I'm not receiving that in the spirit today. I'm not doing that. If you think that you can't handle the New Orleans Saints noise, how in the world you think you're going to play when they get down to playoff time and you got to go on the road, you see? So this team, we playing millions of dollars to this team. We got to figure out how to win these tight games. 12-10 is the difference between a touchdown to win this game or getting the ball at least into field goal range. Flipping the field. Now, we got to go back and look at the drawing boards. Defense, everybody was talking about the defense is trash and everything. That was the only team that showed up today. 2 sides of the ball. Offense got to step it up. Dak Prescott, like I said, they didn't call no rollout plays. They didn't call no read zone, no play actions. 7 play actions out of the entire snaps tonight. You can't win that way. I want to know your thoughts. Post me your concerns down below. Let me know how you feel, Cowboy Nation. That's been my time. I really thank you all for yours. And remember, you're listening to nothing but the best. Salute. I'm out. Peace.